Hey, well, this is Zaccheus with another live word of the day. And I'm talking about today about God will provide for his people. God will provide for his people. Despite what you go through, low income, wages, and God always finds a way to provide for his people. When I hear that President Joe Biden is giving more money away to aid the unrest that's going on, war that's going on in Ukraine and Israel and other places, 95 billion, I kind of scratch my head to, although the inflation is here in the United States and people are struggling, some people are struggling to put food on the table. And this is what he came up with. This is what he said when the reason why he's given $95 billion to foreign affairs.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. It's a good day for America. It's a good day for Europe, and it's a good day for world peace, for real. This is consequential. I just signed into law the national security package that was passed by the House of Representatives this weekend and by the Senate yesterday. It's going to make America safer. It's going to make the world safer. And it continues America's leadership in the world, and everyone knows it. It gives vital support to America's partners, and so they can defend themselves against threats to their sovereignty and to the lives and freedom of their citizens. And it's an investment in our own security. Because when our allies are stronger, and I want to make this point again and again, when our allies are stronger, we are stronger. It's a path to my desk. It was a difficult path. It should have been easier, and it should have gotten there sooner. But in the end, we did what America always does. We rose to the moment. We came together, and we got it done. Now, we need to move fast, and we are. I'm making sure the shipments start right away. In the next few hours, literally the few hours, we're going to begin sending in equipment to Ukraine for air defense munitions, for artillery, for rocket systems, and armored vehicles. You know, this package is literally an investment, not only in Ukraine's security, but in Europe's security.
President Joe Biden signs $95 billion military aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Leave a comment if you think, if you're living in America and you think that the American people will be comfortable knowing that he gave $95 billion to military aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Leave a comment. I already know my answer. And I'm going to tell you what my answer is. And I'm going to say it. Hell no. Americans, although with the inflation and struggling to put groceries on the table for hardworking Americans, I'm not talking about the 1%. I'm talking about the working class 9-to-5ers. I'm talking about the ones who was making 50K and under 50K or 60K, even under 100K, that are struggling to pay rent, struggling to pay their mortgage, and struggling to buy groceries. And you're going to give 95, where do you come up with all this money to aid Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, thinking that it's going to be peace in the world? It's one thing when you're helping another country, okay, but 95 billion is extreme when you have homeless people in the streets in America. And according to, I'm going to read most of the article, I'm going to finish it right now. President Biden on Wednesday, which is last week, announced his signing of the $95 billion military assistance package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Ukraine says that the aid is critical as it seeks to regain momentum on the battlefield from Russia. And concerned with foreign affairs, now, when the election arrives, I want to see how much Americans come out to vote for Joe Biden. And he's not concerned with the people living here. And just before I go to the next page, and just think about it. That's gonna bring peace. You think that's gonna bring peace across the globe? $95 billion. I can't get over that. You got Americans and people living here, but living here, some people born here, but some people live here for 40 years and they can't even get SNAP. Now, those who don't know what SNAP is a supplement nutrition assistance program that provides money with a debit card to buy groceries. And it just helps Americans with the cost of living going up high. If you're eligible, you apply for SNAP, and SNAP was supposed to help low income people buy groceries, and that's even difficult to get because you need so many documents to get SNAP. They need to know your place of residency. They need to know how much money you're making on your job. They need to get your Social Security. They need to know exactly how much you're making on your job. You need many, many documents just to get this program. So many documents. And even when you provide all those documents, you still don't get it. And in the major cities in America, you have the migrants that are here and they're getting the privileges of sleeping in expensive hotels, staying in expensive hotels. They get debit cards with some money, automatically get debit cards with some money to go food shopping for people with families. No one will help the migrants, but don't ignore the American citizens. And I have an article right here that I just found. City Mayor Eric Adams defended a controversial program to give debit cards to some migrants. The city has contracted up to 53 million with a financial services company to provide the cards, following families with kids to buy food and other necessities. Asked if the debit cards send a mixed message to migrants, whom Adams has told not to come to New York. The mayor said it sends a mixed message when it's distorted. It's distorted. It does send a mixed messages because you're giving them all this. You're giving migrants all these privileges, debit cards with $500 debit cards with groceries on them. But Americans that have been working here, born here, raised here, working here hard, and they can't even get SNAP. But yet you're providing people that want to work. Migrants come here, they want to work. They don't want handouts. And I said in a mixed message to come here and to give them handouts while Americans can't get the handouts. They struggle to get the handouts, or when some apply, they don't get it. But when migrants just get here and they get 500 or probably even more, I heard, on the debit cards to buy groceries and necessary necessities, and they're not even citizens. Where is the oxymoron in that? Let's think about it for a second. Leave a comment, tell me what you think. And more migrants are coming. About 180,000 migrants have come to New York City since April of 2022, and about 65,000 are currently in the city's care. 65,000 migrants are in the city scared. So that's why Eric Adams was shouting that where are we going to place these people? And now when it comes to homeless people now, it's a whole different ball game now. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is HUD, counted 653,104 homeless Americans in the annual point in time report, which measures homelessness across the U.S. on a single night each winter. That's a 12.1 increase from the same report since 2022. And this article was written in March just only last month, late March 2024. Oh yes, and the homeless population increased about 70,000 people between 2022 and 2023, and overall rate of homelessness rose from 12% from 1.75 to 1.96 per thousand people are homeless in the United States. It's crazy. Oh yes, and the homeless population increased about 70,000 people. Yes, and people struggling to pay rent in the ghetto, struggling to pay rent. You know how much rent is in certain neighborhoods for a room right now in New York City? A regular room is $1,800 for a room. $1,500. I know a relative that's paying $1,600 right now just to live in a room. Just to live in a room. That doesn't count utilities. It doesn't count. It doesn't count groceries. $1,600 per month for just a room. And I always pray that God will always provide. And like that scripture goes, I've been young and been old, but I never see the righteous or a seed begging for bread. And when you see people out here, you just gotta thank God for your blessings that you're not on the street. But there's a lot of homeless people that are out in the street in these major cities in America. And let's go to a scripture, Proverbs 19:17. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord. He will repay him for his deeds. So if you're generous and you're always, even if you have little, but you're always willing to give, God sees your heart. God sees your heart and he honors that. It's hard out here struggling just to pay bills and put food on the table and trying to get governmental assistance. I know what it is to struggle and just know what it is to struggle, but when you're struggling, you're working hard, but the money that you're making is not enough to fulfill you for the week. You gotta buy groceries, and the groceries went up. Gas just to drive your car went up. Rent went up. Taxes for your homes went up. If you renting, every year they raise the rent. I have a relative right now that's paying $1,600 for a room. Rent just went up $1,700. So it's a struggle out here. Struggle out here. But when you have officials in high places giving billions of dollars to foreign land, but yet you have people struggling in your own backyard, that's a problem. It's a problem. It's a blessing when you can give to other people and help other people out with no cost. And God honors that when you can just give and be of service in your community and be of service to people that's in need. God honors that a great deal. And it's honorable. You feel good inside when you give to people that don't have. You when you receive a paycheck, you just bless it. You give you give an offering unto the Lord. You can use the app to give an offering unto the Lord, and you pay the rest of your bills. But I have to have faith to know that God will provide. Although it's a financial struggle for a lot of us, I have to walk in faith knowing that I'm working towards my goal. I'm striving towards my goal. And I know God has better. I know God has better, but it's just a struggle to put food on the table. And when you're struggling to put food on the table, it becomes stressed. And sometimes your family gets stressed out. And you try to find ways of cutting corners. Maybe you want to cut back on going out and eating out a lot. Maybe you want to cut back on leisure pleasures like going to the movies and certain things you want to cut back on, or maybe certain things you want to cut back on. But I have to have the faith to know that God is gonna provide. He's gonna supply all our needs, and He's gonna provide. I gotta just walk in faith. It's not easy. It's not easy when everything keeps skyrocketing. If you have a house, the tax go up. If you're renting, it goes up. If you're driving, the gas just went up. California gas is $7.50 a gallon. $7.50. New York City gas just bumped up. Just maybe about last week. And it's outrageous. So when you have no other resources to pull from, you gotta just pray to say, God, you have not left us. You're here with us. And you're gonna provide, you make a way, you're gonna give us shelter over our heads. You're gonna give us food to eat every day. You're gonna give us what we need. We're not gonna depend on the government. We're not gonna depend on these governmental programs just to supply our needs. We're gonna relieve your report, God, and we're gonna pray and ask God to always provide for us. Let's go to a scripture. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures, saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Revelation 6:6. My sister and her brethren out there, we're already living in these times where bread is going to cost more than your wages. We're already living in a time when minute you turn around, and you blink your eye, groceries are going up in price. And it causes stress to families. We already living in these times right now. And it's gonna come a point when you're not able to afford bread, you're not able to get certain things because everything keeps climbing up in price. When I went to California that day, that week last year, and then I seen people paying $7,800 for rent, and I'm back in New York, and people paying $5,000 for rent, mortgage, $4,000 and change for the mortgage. It's a crying shame how greedy this place is. Can't even. It's come to a point where groceries are expensive. Everything is keep skyrocketing. Even the travel, skyrocketing high. And God is gonna give us wisdom in how to use our money, and maybe how to make more money in these days and times. As more and more homeless people hit the street, and the migrants are here, it's gonna be really tough to get everybody sheltered in one place. And it's coming to that moment in that time, but everywhere you turn, everywhere you go, you see people in need. Yes, they have employment, but people worry about what's the pay? Because you can have employment, you can have a college degree, and all of that, but yet you owe so much in pay. And if you need a job, you're wondering how much you get paid with the job. You get a job, but you're worried about if it's enough to provide for your family. If it's two of you working, it's possible. It's possible, and God just have to trust God to supply our needs. And all you do, yes, you have to think about your family, and you ask God to provide for your family. And it's a moment in time when you with your family and you think about, well, um, what's the next move? Especially if you're in a financial struggle. You love your family and you want to provide the best for your children. And that's the thing. I thought about strategies and how to pray for God's provision, how to provide and keep my family safe, but also always, God was always, but one thing I noticed that God always provides for his people. I put the bills out, I pray over the bills, and then every month it's paid. Maybe a struggle here and there, but God supplies all our needs. He provides for his people. He provides for his people. And he'll make a way. He'll make a way for us to increase our money and get more money. But we got to ask God for wisdom in doing so. Got to ask God for wisdom. And I'd always say my advice is to let God show you the way. Let God show you the way, because if you're older and maybe you work 20 years, or maybe you're just starting out with the workforce, you just graduated from college, it's always wise to ask God for wisdom on where you should go. And I know if you graduate from college, you have those high college tuitions you got to pay back. Those high college loans you got to pay back. But I say this, let God show you the way and how you should spend a splurging your money on things like liabilities. Try to invest your money into whatever little money you have into a small business, or a business like an online business, which is not like a brick and mortar business that can that can possibly have potential to give you more income, so it won't be such a struggle. And that's my prayer for you. That's my prayer for me, to that I can actually invest in an asset when God blesses me with a good amount of income, so I can invest to make more money. Because the truth of the matter is, I can't be such a blessing to somebody if I don't have to give. I don't have a whole. I don't. If I don't have a lot of resources, I cannot. I can only do about so much. I can speak and be a blessing to somebody, but I cannot provide resources, or I can give somebody information to maybe help them to get, and maybe if I get some information, help them to say maybe you can tap into this program to maybe can make more money. But I myself have to have faith in the Lord to know that He's gonna supply our needs. He's gonna give us that vehicle to get to the next level, as far as not struggling all the time, paying bills, being stressed out, going to a job you don't like, or being unemployed, or not having enough money. If we walk in faith and we trust the Lord today and know that He has our back, He's not gonna let us down. He's not gonna let us down. But the first thing we gotta do is pray and have faith. Is pray and have faith and let God lead the way. Open up His Word. Pray. There's so many scriptures that talk about providing, that God will provide. But first we gotta have faith and we gotta walk with the Lord. And He'll show us a way on. He'll give us strategies in what to do, so we won't have to be stressed out, struggling just to pay bills, stressed out, struggling to know that, okay, what am I gonna do with everything going up so high in this inflation? Everything just climbing up so high. Everything, all the groceries, rent, mortgage, car payments, financing this, financing that. Ask God for wisdom in this economic struggles in these days and time. A lot of us walk through the aisles and try to get those deals. Those buy one get one free, buy one get one, get get buy three for $5. Buy seven, buy seven for $11. I look at those deals and I still get them because it helps a lot. Helps a lot with the groceries. And Lord, I just thank you for just providing for us. Know that God will make a way. Can't rely on Joe Biden. Can't rely on these governmental programs. God will make a way. Know that God will make a way. Can't rely on Joe Biden. Can't rely on these governmental programs. God will make a way. Kids are getting bigger, getting older, and always look for those bargains. Always look for those deals. And use wisdom in how to spend your money when you're going grocery shopping. Use wisdom in how we should spend and what's good to eat. What's healthy to eat and what's good to eat. Now the live word of the day is coming out of Proverbs 10:3. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry, but he thwarts the craving of the wicked. So, will not let us go hungry, but he knows who is stealing, pocketing for their own gain. He knows who is scamming and scheming out of hardworking people's pocket. He knows. God knows, and he sees all things. He sees all things. And he knows who's greedy. Greed is going to kill a lot of people in this country. Greed and selfishness and narcissistic behavior is what destroys people. And God will point you out and he will reveal you. He will reveal you when you're taken from hardworking people. But this is Zaccheus with another live word of the day. God bless and be safe out there. Peace and blessings.